this is Africa Archield. I'm so excited. It is Thursday. It is time for Tech30. Woohoo! And I'm excited about answering your questions about online technology, whatever you need to use to run your business online. I'm here to answer your questions. Now, I have had some questions that came in before time, but I will mingle those with questions that you're going to ask. So be sure to fill in your questions in the chat box right next to this video. And I will be checking the chat box periodically just to make sure that I answer all the questions. So for those of you not really familiar with what I do, I'm a mentor to really heart-centered women, those women who have a mission on this planet, who really want to do something big and reach as many people as possible. And I'm here to help those women get their business online and scale it up. Because so many times we don't do what we're called to do because the technology behind making it happen is frustrating. And so I want to really help you get relief from that frustration. So ask me anything, whether it's like, how do I do something like this? Africa, how do I do a Google Hangout? To autoresponders and email and landing pages, payment processing, websites, you name it. If it has to do with online technology, I will answer it. So make sure just to ask any of those questions, any of those frustrations, especially when you're having trouble. I think I find a lot of women have trouble making things talk to one another. So they're using several different systems and they need them to talk. It'd be really nice if your appointment calendar talked to your email system, right? So someone signs up for an appointment to speak to you, and then their name automatically got added into your email database. Wouldn't that be nice? Or maybe even then they automatically send emails so that people remember to come to the appointment, whether it's an appointment in person or let's say on Skype or phone, whatever that might be. So we talk about any and all of those things. Automation, I think, is the one thing that really helps you stay absolutely out of overwhelm, okay? The more that you can automate subsystems to support you, the easier it'll be to spread your genius out into the world and really accomplish the mission that you're put on earth to do. All right, so let me get into look at some questions. I know that some of y'all are going to be entering in some questions, so I want to make sure that I definitely address those, as well as addressing questions that came in ahead of time. So let me, head over to some of those questions that came in ahead of time. Yes, I do keep track of those questions. And I had one that came in, and it was a question about email systems, actually. And the question was about, should I use Aweber or should I be using MailChimp? Like, which one's the best? Well, there's Aweber, MailChimp, GetResponse, ActiveCampaign, MadMimi, let's see, Infusionsoft, Entreport. There's tons of services that you can do to send emails to your customers. So let me back up a little bit before I try to say which one's best, okay? So as I back up, I'm going to say this. The best one's the one that's the best suited for your needs. And you have to understand, so first, why on earth would you even have one of these things? Well, why do you need an email service provider if you have Outlook or Gmail or Yahoo or whatever it is that you're using? I think, is Hotmail still around? Any of those. And this is the issue. What happens with those email systems that we use for our personal email, once you start sending out mass email to all your followers or subscribers, it kind of blocks it because it looks and thinks that you're sending out spam, okay? And of course, you don't want to be seen as spam if it lets you send it at all. Once you start adding too many blind CCs to a list, they go, whoa, whoa, whoa. What's going on? Did their account get jacked? What's going on here? So that's why you don't use it in a personal with like a personal email system like Gmail, okay? So you move to something that's automated, also keeps you compliant with the law. So there's these canned spam laws. I don't know if you've heard of those, but it keeps you compliant in the law so that all your disclosures and stuff that are supposed to be there are at the bottom, okay? Because you definitely don't want to get into trouble, legal trouble, federal legal trouble. You don't want that, okay? So let's get into compliance. There are several email services out there that are absolutely free, and they can be wonderful to use as you're starting off, especially when you're trying to figure out what you're doing. But I'm telling you right now, what you should be doing, no matter what you think you might do, is start developing your list. Because your list, you know, they say the money's in the list, right? And in some ways it's true. It gives you a way to communicate with people who raise their hand and said, I like what you're doing, or I like something you have, right? So you've got to have a place to communicate with them. That's why you need this kind of application or software. So like I said, there's several that are free to start. Most of them, if you really want to get the best use out of them, you're going to end up paying, okay? And none of them are, they can get very expensive. But you know what? You go to the more expensive ones when you have more revenue coming in, okay? So it's a balance of how much money do you have coming in? How quickly do you perceive yourself growing? If you don't have a lot coming in right now, as to how you decide to invest in these email systems. So that's one part of it, right? That's just the bare bones economics of it. The other part of it is the function. All of them have something special that they do that makes them, that might work for you. Now, what have I used in the past? I've used Aweber. I've used MailChimp. I've used ActiveCampaign. I've used Entreport. So these are the ones I could say, hey, I'm pretty familiar with these. I have friends who use GetResponse and swear by it. I have friends who use Infusionsoft and swear by it. So what am I actually using right now? I'm actually using MailChimp and ActiveCampaign. And I'll get to why I use both in a minute. But to go back to the question, which is better, I don't think Aweber is any better than MailChimp, or MailChimp any better than Aweber. Personally, I just don't like Aweber. I had some issues with them in the past, and I just kind of tossed them aside and kept on moving. So I've had other friends who've had problems with Aweber, and I have friends who love Aweber. So, you know, some of that's going to depend on just your interaction with it. But I would say fundamentally, both of them do about the same thing. Okay, you may find that and this is what comes up to be a really big thing. What else do you want your email program to sync up to? Like, what do you want it to talk to? Is it talking to your shopping cart? If you have PayPal, are you wanting it to interact with PayPal? Do you have a membership program? An appointment calendar? You know, what else are you trying to get it to sync up with? And that's going to make a difference. Okay, because you want whatever email system you're using to be able to sync up with the other things that you're using. Okay, so I think that's usually pretty big. The other thing that I look at personally is I like to do a lot of automation. You know, like I said, if you have that automation, it becomes the structures that support you so you can do the thing that you're awesome at, right? So that's what I really look for when I look at an email system. So what I found personally for me is MailChimp doesn't have the quality of automation that I want. And so far from my investigations, the only ones that really have that quality of automation I want, that makes it very simple to do what I'm trying to do, are ActiveCampaign, Infusionsoft, and Entreport. Okay, so those are the three that I found that really work for the kind of automation and connectivity and everything that I want to do. Okay, so like I said, really depends on what you need to do, where you are in business, so you can make a good decision. So I like to deal with programs that will scale up with me, okay, where I still have the features that I think will serve me, right? And that's what I always suggest to my clients. So my choice, just in general is ActiveCampaign. That is the one that I'm using. I think it's cost effective. It will scale with you as you have more people. When you look at different softwares like MailChimp, I'm not so sure about GetResponse, but I do believe it's true of GetResponse, MapMimi, and others. They're list-based. So let's say that you're running some kind of promotion to, let's say you're hosting a phone call or a webinar or whatever. So you create a list so that everyone who is interested in that webinar or phone call, when they sign up, they get added to that list. Okay, so then let's say you're doing some kind of freebie that you're giving people they can download. Well, there's another list that you're creating. And some of those people that were on your webinar also want the freebie. So now they're on another list. And those services charge you by the number of people that are on your list. So it doesn't matter that 50% of the people on, your 10 lists are the same. They're getting charged as if they're 10 different people. Okay, so that to me is another reason I wasn't so keen on it. That and the kind of automation I want to do becomes more difficult, and I have to get outside third-party systems to make the automations I want to do work. So then I started looking at other places, and that's where I went over to ActiveCampaign and Entreport and Infusionsoft. So I looked at ActiveCampaign. Again, it's one of those that will scale with you. The more people you have on your list, the more that it costs, okay? So and then you have different levels with features, so you can go check it out for yourself. But in there, when a person is on your list, they're on your contact list. So it doesn't matter if they signed up for your freebie and your webinar and your phone call and they bought this and that product from you. You can have 100 different lists, but that one person's on 100 different lists are only counted one time. That just makes a whole lot more sense to me. So there's other things in there about tagging and all that, and I don't want to get into all that because that's just a whole other conversation. But those are the reasons, that I use ActiveCampaign. That, and like I said, the automation. So when I bring someone in, they get added to that list, and they can automatically get added to another, and I can take people on and off list automatically depending on their behavior to give them a more customized experience, okay, with me, which I think is very important. So in that way, I'm also sending them emails that make sense to them. If I just went to a flower shop this morning. So if I'm selling flowers and I have carnations and roses and lilies, which are the only three, I can't remember what she told me they were, carnations and roses and lilies, and you only like roses, why am I sending you emails about carnations and lilies? You'll be like, what is she doing? Unsubscribe. I like roses. She knows I like roses. I opted in for her thing on roses. So that kind of automation happens so far from what I've seen really with ActiveCampaign, Infusionsoft, and Entreport. So now, why didn't I go with Entreport or Infusionsoft? Because I think both of them are awesome. I'm going to say that. But to me, it was a cost thing. I could get these features that I really wanted with ActiveCampaign. They do email really well. But Entreport's great too, and so is Infusionsoft. I've used Entreport, loved it, but I could get the features I really want in ActiveCampaign, and some that just weren't even available in the other two. So I was happy. So I know that was kind of a long-winded way to go about answering this question about email, but it really is figuring out what features do you want, what's your budget, and who's going to match up with some of the other kinds of programs and apps and stuff that you're using already or that you plan on using. Right? Those are the things that really make a huge difference in figuring out which of those email platforms that you should use. So that was a very long answer to that question, but I hope that answers that question well for you. Okay, so let me go over here to, another question. Okay, so someone asked me about the different kind of plugins. I think they said the best widgets that I use on my WordPress site, but I'm thinking they're probably talking about plugins rather than widgets. Okay, so let me kind of talk about a widget is something that would show up on maybe like the sidebar of your site. and they're based on the plugins that you have in your site. So I think really the question is more of what kind of plugins do I recommend that you have. So I am going to take you into the back end of my site, and I can tell you why I have every single one of them. At least I hope I can. Why I have all the plugins I have, and which ones might be fairly important for you to have too. So give me a second, and let me pull up that plugin page, and I will share it with you. I was actually thinking about sharing something else, so I had something else pulled up. I didn't have this pulled up. There we go. Let me let it come on over. Okay. And let me go in here. Whoops. And share it with you guys. Okay. So this is the back end of my website, and I'm sharing with you now. And I just accidentally reloaded it. Okay. So what I have here is this first one. It's called Aspen. And pretty much if you're using a WordPress site, I think it usually comes already preloaded. This is huge to ask. It really protects your blog from a bunch of spam. So you have to sign up for the Aspen API key. It's really simple to do. If you want to, guys, I will definitely run a video on how to do that. I think this is one of those plugins that is just a must, especially if you're having anyone commenting on anything on your site. Now, if you're running a site and you're having no comments, or you're only doing Facebook comments, okay, you can skip this thing. But I think this one is super important. Click to tweet, I absolutely adore. It's made by Tech30, who also makes CodeSchedule, and I love, love, love CodeSchedule. But Click to Tweet is another one of their products. I should say Aspen and Click to Tweet, they're both free. So these are both free plugins that you can use. Click to Tweet, you just pop in as you're doing your blog post, and they give you a special short code to use, and you can essentially make it tweetable, and it comes out looking beautiful like a little card. So I think if we look here at view details, let me kind of go like this. I can't remember how it's going to pop. You can kind of see what it looks like. I'll let it load while we go over to look at CodeSchedule. So CodeSchedule is the next one that I have on there. And again, this is great if you do blog posts and you're sending it out on social media. It literally lets you go in and schedule everything as you write the blog post. And then it gives you the top posts that are shared on social media of yours that you could go in and re-promote, because you should be re-promoting your old stuff. It was great. So you need to make sure to keep getting it out there. And CodeSchedule provides a wonderful way of doing that. They also have a new feature, which I don't know that I'll have time to talk about. They also have a new feature where you can essentially create content on the CodeSchedule calendar that isn't a post, but you can still shoot that content out into social media, which is awesome. So it allows you to essentially share posts that aren't posts in social media. And I'm probably not making a whole lot of sense. I'm going to have to do a whole nother video on that. Okay, so let me see what it did here for Click to Tweet on the view details. Okay, so here it is. Click to Tweet. It shows, is it going to show us a screenshot here? Okay, this is why I love it. It creates a box like this in your blog post. And it's really simple where people figure out how to click to tweet. So it just makes it very beautiful and elegant. It makes it stand out. And again, it helps with getting your post to be more viral, because you're giving people actions to use to make that happen. Okay, so let's go back over here to the plugins. Easy Webinar. In fact, right now I am using Easy Webinar. I think this Tech30 is the first one, or maybe the second one where I've actually used Easy Webinar. I'm testing it out and making sure it's awesome. So I'm using it right now. You're watching this on the Easy Webinar kind of platform. So what Easy Webinar does is it's an overlay for Google Hangouts. So I'm actually streaming this via Google Hangout. Easy Webinar is providing the framework. I put in some code for the chat box. And so that's where all this is coming from. So that's what that's about. The Facebook comments plugin, again, if you want to have Facebook comments on your site, this is a good one to use. I really liked it. one of the frameworks I have on my site for a theme is Genesis. And so that's where all this Genesis stuff is coming from. It's related to the theme I actually have loaded on the site. So down a little further, Google Analytics by Yoast. Yoast does some great plugins for WordPress. So that's more than just Google Analytics. But to me, Google Analytics are really important. Again, probably need to do a whole other video just on Google Analytics. I can really geek out on stuff like that. But knowing where your traffic is coming from and what they're doing in your site is pretty important. So you know that you can deliver content that the people who come to your site want. And you know where to advertise or to put stuff on social media, because you know people are coming from those social media outlets or whatever outlets that people are coming in from. So that can be pretty important. Jetpack by WordPress. I was surprised this doesn't automatically come in preloaded, but it just makes things so much easier on your blog. So I won't go into all that, but Jetpack by WordPress, awesome. Okay, Lead Player I actually don't use anymore. Probably need to delete it. But I think I was going back to check that I've gotten all that done. It's actually software that they're keeping kind of updated, so I've started not using it. List category post can be really great, especially if you're creating what I call pillar pages on your site. So if you're creating pillar pages with, it will automatically, if you categorize things correctly, all your different posts, and you use something like list category posts, you create the pillar page, you explain why, you know, all these posts about mindset are super important, and you know, your philosophy on mindset, and then you have all your blog posts related to mindset. And you can do that with list category posts. So that can be really awesome. You can also use it in the form of a widget on the sidebar, so it only lists certain blog posts or categories on the sidebar too. So that can be really awesome. Member Mouse is a membership program that I use. So again, that's a whole nother video. So if you're using if you need a membership program, hey, I think Member Mouse is great. If you don't, yeah, that's okay too. There's all sorts of ways that you can do membership. I realize I've been saying what's free and what's paid. All right, so most of these so far have been free. Easy Webinar obviously is paid. CodeSchedule, I believe you can use it for free. They have a free trial, and then you can go into payment. Genesis was not free, but that's part of the theme that I purchased. Google Analytics was free. Jetpack free. Lead Player, like I said, doesn't even exist anymore. List category post free. Member Mouse, of course, it is paid. Okay, post tags and categories for pages. This to me is a must-have because I like to categorize my pages as much as I like to categorize my posts. And I also like to tag my pages. It's just a thing with me, and it helps when I'm using it with other programs. So to me, this is one of those that is a must for me because it allows those little boxes to be present when you're creating your page and editing a page. Okay, Pretty Link Lite. And by the way, that one's free. And so is Pretty Link Lite. Pretty Link Lite. When I say to you, hey, did you like the idea of ActiveCampaign? And you're like, yeah, I want to try out ActiveCampaign Africa. How do I get to the website? And I say, go to africaarchield.com/ActiveCampaign. And when I tell you to go there and you go to that link, it'll automatically redirect you to ActiveCampaign, but you'll be going there through my affiliate link. So Pretty Link allows you to make affiliate links that look nice, or any kind of link that looks nice. So let's say even at the end of this discussion, in the Tech30 today, I'll tell you how we can keep talking, right? Let's say you have some other questions and I say, okay, you can schedule an appointment with me. Well, I wouldn't want to give you the entire link to book the appointment, so I create a pretty link for that. So know that that's coming. All right, so Profit Builder is, this is also a theme that you can use as a theme or a plugin. And I'm using it on this side as a plugin. I give it to my clients as a theme and a plugin, depending on what they want to do. It helps you make landing pages, but obviously it's a theme, so it helps you create your entire website too. So that's really cool. But with my clients, it's free. If not, you can go out and you can pay for it. Okay, it's out there. All right, Sumo Me. Love Sumo Me. It's great, and it is free. Okay, and it posts those little social icons along the side. It'll do like a little bar across the top for people to click. There's a lot you can do with SumoMe. Go check it out, sumome.com. I love Noah Keegan and the gang there. They're awesome. Testimonials widget. Again, definitely, SumoMe is a definite, and it's free. Check it out. Testimonials widget. If you have a lot of testimonials, this becomes really great to use because you can serve them up however you want to on a page, in the sidebar. So I have mine as a whole testimonials page. It's called Love Me. I also have it coming up on the sidebar. And again, it's all about social proof. It's like, do people really use Africa? That is she doing anything good? Or are people really going to use you? And they can see what other people have said. And they can, you know, I'm nosy. I will, if I really like someone, I think I want to start working with them. Not only do I look at their testimonials, I look at the people who wrote those testimonials. I'm just that kind of girl. All right, so the next one's Tiny MCE Advanced, and that just gives you more editing stuff as you're writing your post. So it's even more like Microsoft Word or Google Docs or whatever. It just gives you some extra features. So again, it's free, might as well. By the way, testimonials widget, also free. Watu Pro I do some exams on or assessments on my site. Watu Pro is not free, but it's pretty inexpensive. So you're planning to do assessments, you might want to give that one a try. The Likert Scales Survey Maker is just an add-on. I went ahead and got it. It was free, by the way. But it only works when you have the paid version of Watu Pro. Okay, WordPress backup to Dropbox. Yes. If you don't have Dropbox and you have Google Drive or you have something else, get whatever it is, WordPress backup to whatever. You need to back up your WordPress site. Period. End of story. Back it up. Now, originally the host provider I had, it cost me extra to have them back it up for me. And that's when I started investigating other ways to back it up because this is a lot of work to build this thing. You don't want it to poof go away or accidentally download something, a plugin you shouldn't have, and it all just goes to pot. I've done that before and had to restore. So this becomes something very important to have. And it's really easy to do. You just set it up and let it run. Now, I'm going to say that with Dropbox anyway, I think you could get up to 25 gigabytes of space for free on Dropbox doing various things, right? And that's probably more than enough space to back up your website, your WordPress site, right? So that's pretty cool. I have and like I said, I actually purchased space on there, but I also have videos, pictures, my WordPress site, projects I've been working with on client, all on Dropbox. And guess what? I don't think I've even touched that 25 gigs yet. So it's a lot. It's a lot more space than you think. Okay. And then the very last one down here is WordPress HTTPS. It makes it, you have to have a secure server certificate for this to work. Of course, I have one because I run credit card transactions that stay on my site. And so the information has to be passed securely to my merchant gateway, or my payment gateway rather. And so unless you're doing something like that, don't even worry about this. But if you are, hey, this one's free and it works really well so far. All right, so that was, again, a long-winded answer to that question. But I wanted to make sure that it got answered. I want to make sure. Okay, so we're doing good. And it's about time for us to start wrapping up this Tech 30. So as I mentioned before, I'm going to show you a pretty link. All right, so if you need anything else and you want to talk to me because you're like, Africa, there's still some things I need to know. You can go here. Whoops, did that one come through? No, that one didn't come through. Let's do it here, just above my forehead. There we go. All right, so if you have anything that you need, you can just go to africarchield.com/talktech. Book some time with me. Let's figure out what you need, how to get you online and get things automated the way that you need so that you're supported by the technology so that you can get your message out in the world in a way that works for you. So with that, be peaceful, joyous, and love-filled. Have a wonderful day.